Hello roommates, it's Jelana coming at you with another design video, and tonight we are going to be designing our 3D alphanumeric letters, but turning them into a charcuterie board. If you follow me on TikTok, or at the time it was Instagram, then you know I made a 2025 New Year's charcuterie board and built it out of these 3D letters. It was paper based. You could get them and buy them from craft stores, but I wanted to DIY mine. So instead of making 2025, we are going to use the words MOM and 3 pictures. So before we even get started, you're going to need to gather the following. You're going to need to go over to my Etsy shop and download and grab your set of alphanumeric letters and numbers. It will be A through Z and numbers 1 through 9 and 0. So you'll need to go and grab that first, and you'll need to pick 3 different photos, one for each letter, or I guess you could repeat or do your thing there, but I chose 3 different letters. Keep in mind the orientation of the letter. So because the M does not really have an open middle space, like the O does, you'll need to kind of crop things out, and I'll show you kind of how that goes. Once you've downloaded your file and you've gotten your pictures together, you can come back and see me, and you can pick up right back here and we'll keep moving. So let me clear this and start over. Now, if your background is white, fun fact, you can change this to a different color. But I will also walk you through that by clicking over here on background color and then choosing white, or you can choose pink or orange or whatever. But I always choose gray because all the colors kind of show up and it's very similar to white. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to need to grab is the letter M. So once you've downloaded your SVG files, you'll go and double click and upload image, find wherever they are, drag them in here, and upload your letter M. Okay. Once your I don't think I deleted the things. Okay. Hold the phone, guys. Let's just start a new project. Okay, starting a new project. Here we go. You're going to upload your images first and your letter M and O. So I'm going to start with the letter M, and you'll go to add to canvas. Once your letter is in, you'll see that there are 3 different layers. This is because at the time, fun fact, Cricut had not given us the offset feature yet. So I had to build this in Inkscape. But now I'm just adjusting them to Cricut Design Space. So you'll realize that they're all labeled and looking beautiful over here to tell you what's what, but we're gonna need to ungroup those. And then because I'll be using this as a charcuterie board, I don't actually need this top gray layer. So you're only gonna need the light blue and the navy. Something else you'll notice is that I gave you guide shapes. So this piece of cardstock, which has the circle guide shapes, means that this circle starts here and will fold around your M. You'll get to your square. You'll know that's your next piece. This is the base of your M and that long stem. Same thing with your triangle. That means this piece, this triangle, will start where this triangle is. You'll go up this way, and then your hourglass shape will be your last piece of cardstock, and you'll line that piece up where the hourglass shape is. But because I don't want that to mess with any of our dimensions, I'm actually going to have you turn that off for now. And then when you get ready to actually assemble it after all your pieces are cut, you can come back in here and cut them on. Because if not, it's going to tell you that your letter M is 7.76 inches tall, and that's actually not accurate. Once you turn this off by going to hide all contours, that means only one letter M is left. You'll see that has changed. So same thing for the navy letters. I'm going to go to contour, hide all. It's going to default to the one letter, and I'll click apply, and this is going to be my base. Now, if you just want your letters to be cardstock only, no pictures, you could actually stop right here, go to make it. Well, not stop right here. We have one more step, which is to click this set of lines. you'll see that this is just lines by themselves and cut pieces, and this is your cardstock pieces. So you're going to need to click the layer that has the what I call train track pictures and change that to score lines. Highlight both layers and then attach those. And now you're ready to just click make it and go. It will show up on your mat. Very simple, very easy. You've got your letter M, and again, you can add this, move it to your first mat and try to make that work. It will fit. So now you've basically only used 2 pieces of cardstock for this one letter. Maybe slide that down a little bit, and now you've only got 2 pieces. Okay, but that's if you don't want any pictures. If you're looking to elevate and you want to add some personalized photos to these 3D letters, then you're going to need to go back to your upload screen and grab one of the pictures you inserted. I'm going to start with this one of my mom and dad. Sorry, Dad, he's got to get cropped out. So how that's going to work is I'm going to first start by grabbing my navy blue layer, and that is going to be what my picture is out of. But before we get into that, because we are using a print and cut, I want to bring our attention to this red exclamation point. When you click on it, it will tell you, hey, this image is too large. It's not going to be able to print using 8.5 by 11 sheets of photo paper, which is what I would recommend that you use. So in order to resolve that issue, we are going to need to resize our letter first. So I'm going to put this letter M back, and I'm going to grab a shape that's a square. And because I know that the print and cut maximum on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper is 9.25, I don't want any parts of my letter M to be bigger than that. So I'm going to create a shape that is 9.25 inches and send it all the way to the back. That means the biggest this letter M could be is 9.25 inches if I want to use a photo. If you don't want to use a photo and you're just using regular cardstock or whatever type of material, the biggest dimension would be 11.5 on your 12 by 12 mat, or I believe it's 16.83. Forgive me, I haven't made the larger ones in a while, but it's about 17 inches, which is pretty large for a 3D letter. And again, these are available in my Etsy shop, linked in the description box below. So now let's resize our letter M. But when you do this, I don't want you to just grab these layers, because your score lines and cardstock papers are aligned to this size. So you're actually going to need to click everything and then align your M to a corner and drag it out until it reaches 9.25. Or maybe a little less if you want to be on the safe side. Okay, now from there, you'll see that another red exclamation point has popped up, because it's telling you, hey, because you can only print an 11.5 by, a 12 by 24 mat, that's the biggest mat that a Cricut maker can use, we're going to have to break these pieces up. So you win some, you lose some, but it depends on the project that you're trying to make. In this case, I want to make this as big as possible because food is going to be going inside of this letter. So I'm going to show you how to resolve both of these exclamation points. Let's start with this picture. We're going to go and grab our navy. I'm going to hide this black square. We're going to go and grab our navy layer, and I want to align this navy layer to crop out my mom from this picture. So I'm going to bring it to the front and put my mom right about there first, because again, this is my red exclamation point. I'm actually going to go ahead and let this auto resize for me, which means this is as big as I could print this using an 8.5 by 11, which fits perfect with my letter M. So I'm just going to crop out as much of her body as I can get. And then I'm going to highlight both of those layers and slice these out. What slice is going to do is give me multiple layers that I can then combine or flatten, turn into different shapes, all kinds of options. But this is different from weld because weld creates one big layer. This has actually created 4 individual layers from those 2. So what we're gonna do now is delete the things we don't want. So this background from the picture, we're gonna go ahead and delete that. We also do not need this navy piece. So we're gonna delete that. This is going to be our remaining letter M. I do want to keep this as a basic cut. I do not want my printer to print this out. So this is when you can align this to match a color. Oh, I have my dad in there. That's, well, dad can stay. We'll let dad stay. It's fine. Okay, so from here, we're going to need to keep this as a set, but I don't want these to behave in the same way. I want this piece to print and I want this piece to cut. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is group these together so that they don't move around, but they are still going to remain 2 separate layers, 2 separate operations for my Cricut machine. Then I'm gonna move this back over here. Now, if you don't want that to be blue, right? Like maybe you want this to match, maybe I want it to match my mom a little more, what she has on. So I'm gonna change that blue square into an orange. And that way her outfit can pop out a little more since this is about mom. Dad's there, but it's about mom. I actually like that a little bit better. And then I'm not gonna leave the base blue either. I'm actually gonna turn that into black, but we'll do that in a second. All right, let's deal with this other exclamation point. It says not supported by Maker 3, images too large. So what this means is I am currently using this as one big old image. That's why this green box is around everything. Instead of telling the Cricut machine to treat this as one entity, I want to break this up. So I'm going to detach this first to create my separate layers. And then I'm going to highlight both of them and duplicate. Okay. In this first group, I'm going to keep these first 2 sections and remove the bottom 2 sections. So let's start with the top layer. Since I'm keeping the first 2 sections, I'm going to remove the bottom 2 sections. And in the background, you can see those layers disappearing, which tells me I'm clicking on the right things and everything's working out. Okay. So what I have left now is just my 2 sections at the top. Perfect. But I'm going to have to do that same thing for the score lines. I want to keep the top 2 and remove the bottom 2. So I click on there. I go over to contour. I'm going to remove the bottom 2. So I'm going to click on, and again, you can see it disappearing in the layer underneath. Oop, come back. There we go. And then same thing, I want to get rid of all of these pieces. They highlight green. You can use the zoom feature to see things a little bit better if you need to. And again, they're disappearing right over here. When we get rid of them, that's how we know we're doing the right thing. This one and this one. All right. From there, I do want to attach these back because I want to score them. So I'm going to attach, and then I'm going to go through that same process with this second set, only I want to keep the bottom 2 and remove the top 2. So I'm going to start with this first layer. I go over to contour, going to remove the top 2 sections and their guides because I don't need their guides anymore, which is going to be circle and square. Okay, first 2 sections are gone. And then I do the same motions for the score lines. Go over to contour. I can zoom in to make things a little easier. You can't see this one underneath, but in order again to fix that, you would just need to slide your canvas over and then go back to contouring, and then now you can see it. We're removing the top 2. And again, you can see them disappearing behind us. So we know we're clicking on the right stuff. There we go. Okay, highlight both of these sections. We're going to attach. And now we have no red exclamation points, which means we're in pretty good shape. Because I know that I am going to have the letter M twice, I'm actually just gonna duplicate this and just slide it over here. Okay, so all of this is my first letter M. So to keep my layers panel over here organized, I'm gonna highlight all of this and then group it. So that way I know this is one letter. Okay, you need to go and grab your second photo. I'm gonna grab this one. Actually, no, I'm gonna grab this one because the other one had, well, I can put both of them on there. But since I decided to keep my dad in this one, I'm gonna put my mom and me in the other one. So I'm gonna use this photo. I'm gonna bring this one down here just so I can see. Oh, and let me save this project just because I'm a force of habit. 3D letters, mom 2. Don't forget to save your projects, guys. Okay. Okay. But remember, we didn't need that anymore. We went and got an M. I might have to edit this one out, y'all, so that all right. Okay. All right, we've got our navy. We let Design Space resize for us, and then we try to capture the best spot to put our faces, which I think is gonna be something like that. Okay, and then I highlight both layers. I slice it out. I no longer need the background or the blue. This is my M. I'm gonna change my background color to gray so we can see everything. And then I'm just gonna group these two so that I know where they go. Okay, second M is done. Now we need to go grab our O. So I go and grab my O. Okay, same thing. I'm gonna bring my square back because before I even go any further, I already know it's gonna be 9.25 inches. So I'm gonna grab this entire letter, pull it over and align the square and the letter O, and then I'm gonna move this out until it's 9.25 inches. Looks like I can do a little more. Too big. I think that's pretty good. That's a little better, right? Yeah. Okay, so now I'm gonna hide my black square again. I'm gonna ungroup everything. I don't need the gray layer. I only need one blue layer, navy blue layer. Oh, and I'm going to leave this O hovered in. You could leave it open, but because I want her full face to be on this letter O, I don't need the middle of this portion to be open. So I go over to my Blue Room Blue layer, and I'm gonna hide all my contours. and just leave the back. Now down here, I don't know if you saw that, but in the middle of your layer is that triangle base, which means the portion we don't need as far as cardstock sections is going to be the triangle base. So that's how I determine which of these sections I need to get rid of. So I'm going to click on this first layer, and because this layer has, or the section has the triangles in it, I know that's the one that I'm not going to need because the letter O is not going to be open. It's going to be a closed letter O. Same thing with this score layer. I need to change the operation from cut to score. And then I will contour these out the top layer because I know I don't need my triangles anymore. And then I highlight both layers, I attach, and now I've got the pieces to my O. Last but not least, I'm going to slice out this picture. This can be as big as Cricut will tell me I can make it, which is right there. And then I'm gonna resize it just a little bit because I know I'm gonna slice it out. Okay, I think that's pretty much in the middle. Okay, so I grabbed that navy layer, the photo, I can right click and slice them out. I do not need this border, so I can delete that. And I don't need this navy layer anymore, so I can delete that. And now I'm left with my O. And that was obviously for her birthday. Yay. Okay, last but not least, my letters are not gonna be this blue room blue color. I actually want them to be black. So I'm gonna grab that base layer. I'm gonna change one of them to black. And then as a shortcut, I go over to my material colors layer, and everything that is this blue room blue is going to be black now. Same thing. Move everything over. Move everything over. Everything over. And everything over. And now everything's black. If you don't want this to be blue, that M, we never changed it, right? If you don't want that to be blue, you can go to where it says basic cut and you can change it to whatever color. Maybe like a lavender would be nice to pull this in a little more. And these are all of your 3D letters. This is everything you need. All you would do now is click make it. This is how your mats will come out. You will, I always cut on mat, so that's an option that I choose. And then of course you've got your print and cut layers that will come out. You'll glue them individually, and then you can always change your material to fit whatever it is you need. And that's it. If you learned something new from this video, drop it in the chat below, drop it in the comments below, and follow me on all the socials. And if you're interested in this alphanumeric set, you can grab it from my Etsy shop using the description link in my in the video below. Thanks, y'all. Hope y'all have a good